Precious soul, pause everything right now, because what you are about to hear is not ordinary. April 4th is not just another date on your calendar. It is a spiritual checkpoint, a divine alarm, a moment that has been circled in the unseen realm long before you ever realized something was shifting around your house. This is a final warning from Archangel Michael, and it is urgent. Someone is watching your house, not by accident, not randomly, not without purpose. Before 11:59 p.m., something must be understood. Something must be spiritually activated. Because after that hour, the window shifts, the atmosphere changes, and the protection that is trying to surround your family must be received consciously. You may have sensed it already. The unusual stillness at night, the subtle feeling that eyes are observing, the way your spirit feels slightly unsettled when you step outside your door, the unexplained tension in your household, the strange dreams, the flicker of anxiety that has no logical explanation. This is not imagination. Archangel Michael steps forward now, sword of light drawn, not to create fear, but to awaken awareness. There has been surveillance, not just physical but spiritual. An assignment is attempted to map your routines, to study your entrances, to observe your emotional vulnerabilities, to watch your family patterns. But hear this clearly, watching is not the same as winning. Because tonight, heaven interrupts. April 4th carries a coded shift. The number 4 represents foundation, structure, home, stability. When repeated, it amplifies earthly grounding and divine order. And when this date aligns with a spiritual alert, it signals protection being activated around your dwelling. But protection requires agreement. Archangel Michael speaks now. My child, I have stood at the perimeter of your home. I have seen what you could not see. I have blocked what you did not know was sent. But you must open this message before 11:59 p.m., because awareness seals what heaven begins. This is why you were led here. Not casually, not coincidentally. The Watcher has been trying to detect weakness, emotional cracks, division, distraction, fear. Because division inside the house weakens the spiritual walls outside it. But tonight, unity becomes your shield. Listen carefully. The energy around your house has shifted in the past 7 days. There has been testing, subtle probing, increased tension between family members, small arguments sparked from nowhere, random misunderstandings. That is not random. That is strategy. But this is the final warning. Before 11:59 p.m., you must reset the spiritual atmosphere of your home. Archangel Michael is not announcing danger to frighten you. He is announcing awareness to empower you. There is someone observing patterns, but heaven has also been observing them. And what was meant to intimidate will now expose itself. Because light makes watchers uncomfortable. April 4th is the line in the sand. You may be thinking, who is watching? Is it physical? Is it spiritual? The answer is layered. Sometimes monitoring begins in the physical but is fueled by spiritual intention. Sometimes it begins in the unseen but tries to influence the natural. Either way, you are not unprotected. But you must respond before the clock crosses into tomorrow. Not with panic, with authority. Archangel Michael says, stand at the entrance of your house tonight. Speak peace over your doorway. Declare protection over every window. Call unity into every room. What is declared with conviction builds a wall no observer can penetrate. This is about your family, your children, your spouse, your elders, your peace, your rest. The watcher expected silence. Instead, heaven releases announcement. And here is the shocking truth. This exposure was scheduled. The reason you feel this urgency today is because the monitoring phase has reached its limit. It cannot escalate without permission. And tonight, that permission is being revoked. Before 11:59 p.m., close every door emotionally. Forgive quickly. Speak blessing loudly. Turn fear into faith. Remove tension. Refuse suspicion within your own walls. Because a united house becomes invisible to hostile observation. This is the final warning, not because harm is guaranteed, but because timing is critical. Archangel Michael stands guard, but he waits for your agreement. Do not ignore this nudge. Do not dismiss the stirring in your chest. Do not delay. Something shifts at midnight. And when it does, your house will either stand fortified or remain casually exposed. The night determines which. The clock is moving. April 4th is here. And heaven is watching back. Chosen one. What I am about to reveal now goes deeper than simple observation. The watching around your house is not random curiosity. It is calculated timing. And the reason this message is reaching you before 11:59 p.m. is because heaven refuses to let you remain unaware any longer. Archangel Michael is not dramatic without reason. When he speaks of urgency, it is because a spiritual clock is ticking. You may have noticed small disturbances around your home recently. Lights flickering at unusual times. Pets reacting to empty spaces. A sudden heaviness in certain rooms. Restlessness after sunset. These are not coincidences when they cluster together near a date like April 4th. There hath been a monitoring phase. Not to destroy you instantly, but to study your spiritual habits. To see whether you pray consistently or only when afraid. To observe whether your family stands united or divided. To measure whether your home carries peace or quiet tension. Surveillance always looks for patterns. Patterns reveal vulnerabilities. But here is what the watcher did not expect. You would open this message in time. Archangel Michael declares, the moment awareness rises, the assignment weakens. And that is why this message had to reach you before 11:59 p.m. Because once you become conscious of what is happening, the power dynamic shifts. Observation loses advantage when the observed becomes spiritually alert. Tonight, something must happen inside your home. Not physically dramatic, but spiritually intentional. You must walk through your house with authority. Not fear. Authority. There is a difference. Fear reacts. Authority declares. Fear whispers. Authority commands peace. Archangel Michael is urging you to change the atmosphere through your voice. Your home is more than walls and furniture. It carries emotional residue. Every argument leaves an imprint. Every harsh word creates a vibration. Every unresolved conflict creates a subtle crack in the spiritual foundation. And those cracks are what watchers study. April 4th represents foundation being examined. But here is the powerful truth. Foundations can be reinforced in a single night when unity returns. If there has been distance between you and someone in your household, this is the hour to close it. If pride hath been sitting silently in the air, release it. If suspicion has been quietly growing, uproot it. Because division is louder in the spiritual realm than you realize. Archangel Michael says, seal your house with agreement before midnight. Agreement multiplies protection. You may be wondering, why 11:59 p.m. specifically? Because midnight symbolizes transition. It is a gateway hour. What is unresolved before midnight often carries into the next cycle amplified. Heaven is giving you the opportunity to reset before the transition completes. And listen carefully. This is not about paranoia. This is about preparation. The one watching your house, whether physical lies or spiritual monitoring, expected normal routine tonight. They expected distraction. They expected scrolling, arguing, ignoring intuition. They did not expect spiritual activation. That is why you must not treat this casually. Right now, if this message resonates, I want you to engage with it boldly. Like this message so it reaches others who may also be under silent observation. Share it with someone whose house has felt unsettled lately. Comment below that you are standing in protection tonight. Subscribe to this channel and become part of a community that refuses to stay spiritually asleep. Join the membership if you feel called, because unity strengthens walls. When we gather intentionally, protection multiplies. And hear me clearly, this is not hype. This is alignment. Something shifts in the unseen when collective agreement forms. Archangel Michael stands at the north side of your property line. That is symbolic of divine defense. But he will not override your free will. Protection responds to participation. Heaven moves where it is invited. Before 11:59 p.m., gather your household if possible. Even if it is just two of you. Even if it is just you alone standing in the center of your living room. Speak aloud, peace lives here. Unity lives here. No watcher has access to this home. Do not whisper it. Declare it. The next few moments are crucial. Because what comes next will reveal why this monitoring began in the first place. There's a deeper reason, and it connects to something about your family's future that has not yet manifested. Hold steady. What is about to unfold explains everything, and you will be grateful you did not treat this lightly. Faithful one, the reason this monitoring began is not because you are weak. It began because something valuable rests inside your house. There is destiny attached to your family. There is favor resting on your bloodline. And whenever purpose grows quietly, attention follows it. Archangel Michael reveals this with precision. The Watcher was not assigned because of your fear. The Watcher was assigned because of your potential. Let that settle in your spirit. There is something about your household that threatens darkness. It may not look extraordinary on the outside. Your home may appear ordinary. Your routine may seem simple. But spiritually, your house carries light. And light attracts observation before it attracts celebration. In the past month, subtle breakthroughs have tried to emerge. New ideas. Sudden opportunities. Conversations about change. A stirring about relocation, business, ministry, healing, or restoration. Even if those conversations were small, they were noticed. Because destiny shifts create vibrations in the unseen realm. April 4th is not random. It marks exposure of silent monitoring before it attempts interference. The one watching your house had been waiting for fragmentation, waiting for discouragement, waiting for exhaustion to create access. But heaven interrupted before escalation. Archangel Michael says, I have delayed what sought entry. But now I reveal it so you may seal it permanently. You must understand something powerful. Observation alone has no authority. Authority only comes through agreement. If fear enters your heart tonight, that becomes agreement. If unity enters your home tonight, that becomes agreement. This is why awareness before 11:59 p.m. matters. The clock is not about panic. It is about closure. Midnight symbolizes the locking of one spiritual chapter and the unlocking of another. Whatever is active at midnight carries forward. So what will your house carry forward? Tension or peace? Suspicion or clarity? Division or unity? Pure authority? Archangel Michael stands ready, but he moves in harmony with your declaration. There is also something else you must know. A watcher is growing frustrated, because despite subtle attempts to create chaos, your house has not collapsed. Arguments did not become permanent separation. Financial pressure did not destroy stability. Misunderstandings did not break covenant. Something has been protecting you even when you were unaware. That something is not luck. It is divine shielding. But tonight seals it. Before 11:59 p.m., you must consciously dedicate your house to peace. Speak it over your roof. Speak it over your doors. Speak it over your children's rooms. When words fill a space intentionally, they rewrite the atmosphere. Archangel Michael declares, "No hidden eye may remain hidden where light is invited." This is the final warning, because after tonight, exposure begins. Not exposure of you. Exposure of what has been monitoring you. When light increases, watchers retreat or reveal themselves through mistakes. Do not be startled if unusual clarity arrives in the coming days. Do not be surprised if truth surfaces naturally. When protection intensifies, deception struggles to remain concealed. But remember, the strength of your house is not in security cameras or locks alone. It is in unity, forgiveness, and spoken authority. Right now, if this message is resonating deeply, this is your confirmation. Type "My house is sealed" in the comments if this is speaking to your spirit. Lesson code 4444 has just been released. 4 represents foundation. 4 repeated represents reinforcement. Tonight, reinforcement surrounds your dwelling. And as this revelation settles into your heart, understand something greater. This message is not just for you. There are others whose homes feel unsettled, who sense observation but cannot explain it. When this word reaches them, light expands. If your spirit feels stirred to strengthen this mission of spreading divine warnings and protection, act on that stirring immediately. When you release support through super thanks, membership, or even through the PayPal link in the description, you are not funding a channel. You are sowing oil into lamps that guide families out of darkness. The Lord says, as you sow beside many waters, your harvest will not fail. This is not charity. This is participation in spiritual defense. When you move, heaven multiplies. Let your giving become a prophetic act that says, "I stand for protection over households." Those who release seed tonight will see protection echo in their own homes. Do not hesitate. Activate your obedience and seal it with action. The atmosphere is shifting. Midnight approaches. But your house is no longer unaware. Brave heart, now that your house has been spiritually sealed, you must understand what happens next. When awareness rises and protection is declared, the atmosphere does not simply return to normal. It responds. There is movement in the unseen realm whenever a family chooses unity over fear. Archangel Michael speaks with calm authority. When a household awakens before midnight, what was watching must recalculate. This is where many people misunderstand spiritual timing. They think the warning was a climax. It was not. A warning with a mercy. What follows is the shift. April 4th marks exposure, but the hours after midnight mark reversal. The one observing your house expected silence. They expected routine. They expected distraction. But instead, your home became intentional. Words were spoken. Unity was restored. Atmosphere was cleansed. It changes the equation entirely. There is a spiritual law that cannot be broken. Darkness cannot dominate where light is consciously maintained. However, there may be subtle attempts tonight to test your resolve. You may feel sudden irritation, a random negative thought, a wave of doubt whispering nothing was happening anyway. That whisper is not casual. It is the last attempt to minimize what just occurred. Do not entertain it. Archangel Michael declares, stand firm for the next cycle. The sealing is complete, but vigilance sustains it. This does not mean paranoia. It means consistency. Your home must now become disciplined in peace. That means arguments cannot linger overnight. That means resentment cannot quietly sit in quarters. That means communication must become clear and honest. When a house practices daily unity, it becomes unattractive to hostile observation. You may also notice something interesting in the coming days. A sense of relief, a lightness in the air, conversations flowing more smoothly, even improved sleep. That is not imagination. That is pressure lifting. The monitoring phase hath been disrupted. But listen closely. Exposure does not always mean confrontation. Sometimes exposure means retreat. The watcher may simply withdraw because access points have been closed. And when access closes, assignments expire. Archangel Michael is not just guarding your home externally. He is strengthening it internally. Because the greatest vulnerability is not outside the walls. It is inside hearts. When hearts align, walls strengthen automatically. Tonight was not about fear. It was about preparation for something ahead. Here is a blessing approaching your family that required stability. Something new is forming. It may relate to finances. It may relate to relocation. It may relate to restoration of a relationship that once felt impossible. It may relate to a calling that has been dormant. But whatever it is, your house needed reinforcement before it could handle the expansion. Because blessing attracts attention just as much as vulnerability does. Archangel Michael says, I do not only defend what exists, I defend what is coming. That statement carries weight. Your house is stepping into a new cycle after midnight, and cycles require strengthened foundations. April 4th was the inspection. Midnight was the reset. What follows is construction. Be attentive over the next 3 days. Watch for subtle confirmations. I expected peace, favor in small situations, resolution of a lingering issue. These are signs that the reversal has begun. But here is something deeper. The watcher did not only observe your physical house. They observed emotional patterns passed down through generations. They studied recurring conflicts, recurring fears, recurring limitations. But tonight, something generational was interrupted. When unity is declared intentionally, it breaks repetition. Archangel Michael stands not just at your door, but at the doorway of your family history. And he is announcing a shift. No longer will your house carry inherited tension without resistance. No longer will fear quietly circulate without being confronted. No longer will small divisions grow into major fractures unnoticed. Awareness has changed that. Now your responsibility is simple but powerful. Maintain what was established. Continue speaking peace. Continue choosing forgiveness quickly. Continue checking the emotional temperature of your home before it overheats. The enemy of stability is neglect. But you are no longer neglecting. And because of that, what was watching has lost interest. A protected house is a frustrating target. The united family is a fortified structure. April 4th will be remembered differently for you now. Not as a day of threat, but as a day of activation. Midnight has passed, and instead of vulnerability, your house entered the new cycle shielded. Archangel Michael lowers his sword not because danger increased, but because authority was established. The atmosphere has shifted, and the one who is watching now realizes they are no longer unseen. Steadfast soul, what you must understand now is that protection is not the end of the story. It is the beginning of revelation. When a watcher is exposed and forced to retreat, something else begins to surface. Why was your house being observed in the first place? Archangel Michael now uncovers a deeper layer. Observation follows value, he says, and value surrounds your household more than you realize. There is something forming around your family that carries long-term impact. It may not yet be visible in full detail. It may exist only as ideas, dreams, conversations, or quiet plans. But in the unseen realm, it already has weight. Sometimes the greatest spiritual attention comes not when something has already manifested, but when it is about to. Your household is standing at the edge of transition. Lot chaos. Transition. And transitions require stability. That is why April 4th became a checkpoint. Heaven allowed exposure before expansion. If you look back carefully over the last few weeks, you will notice subtle shifts. Increased conversations about change. A new sense of dissatisfaction with old limitations. A desire for improvement. A hunger for something better for your family. Those internal stirrings were not random emotions. They were signs of growth. And growth attracts both support and scrutiny. Archangel Michael speaks with clarity. The enemy studies what heaven intends to elevate. This does not mean something terrible was about to happen. It means something meaningful is about to happen. And meaningful shifts require reinforced walls. You may feel a strange calm settling over your house now. Almost like the tension you could not explain has lifted. That calm is confirmation that the monitoring phase has weakened. But do not mistake calm for passivity. This is the time to build intentionally. Ask yourself, what atmosphere do you want your home to carry moving forward? Creativity, restoration, financial wisdom, spiritual discipline. Whatever you consistently cultivate now will multiply in the next season. There is also something personal you must confront. The watcher was not only studying your house externally, they were studying your confidence internally. Doubt was the real target. If doubt could take root, unity would weaken. If unity weakened, access would increase. But doubt did not take over. You are still standing. Archangel Michael declares, confidence restores what fear attempted to erode. This is the hour to reclaim mental territory. Refuse anxious imagination. Refuse suspicion toward loved ones without evidence. Refuse overthinking small issues. These are subtle cracks that once allowed observation to continue. And now comes a surprising truth. The watcher may have already revealed themselves indirectly. Sometimes observation manifests through gossip, through subtle probing questions from certain individuals, through unexpected curiosity about your routine, through someone unusually interested in your personal details. Do not jump to conclusions, but do exercise wisdom. Not everyone needs access to your private information. Not every plan must be shared prematurely. Guarding your household also means guarding your vision. Archangel Michael's protection works in partnership with discernment. As the days unfold, you may see clearer patterns in relationships. You may recognize who genuinely celebrates your progress and who subtly resents it. This clarity is not to create conflict. It is to create boundaries. Healthy boundaries strengthen houses. The most powerful shift, however, is internal. Something inside you has awakened. You are no longer spiritually casual about your home. You are aware. You are intentional. You are alert without being afraid. It balances strength. The reason this message carried urgency was not because disaster was guaranteed. It was because destiny was near, and destiny requires preparation. Your family is entering a cycle where decisions will carry greater impact. Opportunities may appear suddenly. Doors may open quickly. Conversations may accelerate. You must approach these with unity and clarity. Because a house aligned internally moves confidently externally. Archangel Michael now stands not just as defender, but as witness. He has seen the shift in your atmosphere. He has observed your response. And he affirms this: what was meant to intimidate has instead strengthened you. That is reversal. The date that could have carried anxiety now carries authority. April 4th was the alarm. Midnight with the seal. And now the rebuilding begins. Remain steady. Remain united. Remain aware. Your house is no longer under silent observation. It is under visible protection. And what approaches next will require the very stability you just established. Watchful guardian of your home, what unfolds now is even more significant than the warning itself. Protection has been activated. Exposure has occurred. But there is a final layer you must understand about why this entire sequence was allowed to happen in the first place. Archangel Michael did not waste moments. If heaven allowed you to sense that someone was watching your house, it was not to create fear. It was to train your discernment. There is a difference between living paranoid and living prepared. And you are being trained to live prepared. Prepared households are dangerous to darkness. In the coming weeks, you will notice a sharpening of your intuition. Small details that once escaped your attention will now stand out clearly. Conversations will feel different. You will sense shifts before they fully manifest. This is not coincidence. It is refinement. Archangel Michael declares, when a family responds to warning with unity, their perception increases. Something has matured inside you through this experience. You are no longer spiritually asleep regarding your household. You understand now that homes are more than physical shelters. They are spiritual ecosystems. Every word, every emotion, every decision shapes the atmosphere. And here is the deeper truth. The watching was a test of reaction. Would you ignore the stirring? Would you dismiss the signs? Would you allow division to grow? Or would you respond with authority? You responded. That response strengthened more than just your walls. It strengthened your identity as the protector of your family's peace. There is an elevation happening quietly. You may not yet see dramatic change, but internally you are standing taller. You are thinking differently. You are speaking more intentionally. That shift will ripple outward. However, remain alert to subtle distractions. When protection increases, distractions often try to dilute focus. Sudden busyness, unnecessary arguments, emotional fatigue. These are not random. They are attempts to exhaust your vigilance. But exhaustion does not have to win. Archangel Michael says, guard your energy as fiercely as you guard your doors. Rest matters. Communication matters. Laughter matters. Joy inside a home is spiritual reinforcement. Do not allow the seriousness of the warning to remove lightness from your family. In fact, celebrate the fact that your house is covered. This is also the moment to strengthen practical wisdom. Lock doors consistently. Be mindful of what you share publicly. Adjust routines if necessary. Spiritual protection does not eliminate common sense. It enhances it. And hear this clearly, not every watcher was malicious. Sometimes observation comes from jealousy. Sometimes from curiosity. Sometimes from insecurity. The key is not to identify every eye, but to remove every open door. Closed doors bring peace. As this message reaches more people, understand that you are part of a growing wall of protected households. When one family becomes aware, it encourages another to awaken. That is why it is important to engage with this word boldly. Like this message so it reaches others who may be sensing similar shifts. Share it with someone whose home has felt unsettled recently. Comment below that your house stands protected and alert. Subscribe to this channel and join this community that chooses awareness over fear. If you feel led, become a member and stand in unity with others committed to strengthening their households. Because when we gather intentionally, collective discernment rises. And before moving forward, hold this in your spirit. What you just experienced was not random tension. It was preparation for expansion. There is growth coming to your household. It may show up as new responsibility. It may appear as leadership opportunity. It may manifest as financial increase. But whatever form it takes, your house needed to learn alertness first. Archangel Michael does not only guard entrances, he prepares leaders. You are being prepared. So as days pass, do not slip back into spiritual carelessness. Continue speaking peace. Continue standing in unity before small issues grow large. The watcher phase has ended. The strengthening phase has begun. And what approaches next will reveal why heaven invested so much protection around your home in the first place. Stay attentive, because the next revelation will connect this entire experience to a promise that has been hovering over your family longer than you realize. Resolute 1. Now we arrive at the revelation that explains everything. The warning, the watching, the urgency before 11:59 p.m., the sealing of your home, the strengthening of unity, all of it connects to a promise that has been hovering over your household for years. This promise did not begin this week. It did not begin on April 4th. It began long ago, perhaps even before you move into your current home. There has always been something different about your family line. A resilience, a calling, a pattern of surviving what should have broken you. That resilience is not accidental. It is evidence of purpose. Archangel Michael speaks clearly now. I was not only assigned to defend your house, I was assigned to guard what it carries. What does your house carry? It carries potential leaders. It carries voices that will influence others. It carries creativity that can open doors. It carries healing that will break cycles. It carries restoration that will surprise those who doubted you. Even if none of this has fully manifested yet, it exists in seed form. And seeds draw attention before harvest. The watcher sensed movement before you consciously recognized it. A shift in trajectory. A rise in awareness. A growing refusal to stay limited. That internal shift created spiritual vibration. And vibration invites both alignment and opposition. But here is what changes everything. The opposition underestimated your response. Instead of collapsing into fear, you activated unity. Instead of ignoring the stirring, you responded with authority. Instead of dividing internally, you reinforced your foundation. That reaction disrupted the assignment completely. Now the promise moves forward without obstruction. In the coming season, you may see sudden acceleration. Opportunities appearing faster than expected. conversations that align unexpectedly, doors opening that once felt sealed shut. Do not be startled. This is not random favor. It is guarded promise stepping into visibility. Archangel Michael declares, what was watched will now be witnessed. There is a difference between being watched in secrecy and being witnessed in honor. One attempts to intimidate. The other confirms elevation. But elevation requires maturity. This is why unity inside your house must remain consistent. As blessing increases, internal pressure can increase as well. Growth stretches comfort zones. The new responsibilities test patience. Increased visibility requires stronger communication. Guard your unity fiercely. If tension tries to resurface, address it quickly. If pride tries to creep in, humble yourself quickly. If misunderstanding arises, clarify it quickly. The enemy's most common tactic is not direct attack. It is subtle division over time. Do not give it time. Your house has already passed an inspection. Now it must sustain discipline. And there is something even more personal you must hear. You were chosen as a stabilizer within your household. Even if you are not the oldest. Even if you are not the loudest. Even if others do not always recognize it. You carry spiritual weight that influences the atmosphere. Archangel Michael says, your awareness protects more than you know. That means your calm steadies others. Your faith encourages others. Your intentional words shift rooms. Do not underestimate that role. The promise hovering over your family is not just material. It is generational. Something is breaking that once limited your bloodline. And a cycle of instability. A cycle of fear. A cycle of lack. A cycle of fragile relationships. That cycle was studying you because it sensed its expiration. And expiration has now arrived. The Watcher phase was the final attempt to intimidate before breakthrough. But intimidation failed. So now what? Now comes manifestation. Not instantly. Not explosively. But steadily and undeniably. You may begin to notice clearer direction regarding decisions. Where to invest your time. Who to trust. Which opportunities to pursue. Discernment will guide you with unusual precision. That is part of the guarded promise. April 4th will become a marker in your memory. Not because someone was watching your house, but because that was the day you realize your house carries weight in the unseen realm. And when something carries weight, heaven assigns guardians. Archangel Michael remains positioned, not in urgency now, but in alignment. His sword is not raised in alarm. It is grounded in authority. That means the threat has diminished and the promise has advanced. Your responsibility now is simple yet powerful. Stay consistent. Stay united. Stay aware. Because what is about to unfold will confirm that this entire experience was not about fear. It was about preparation for inheritance. Anointed guardian of your household, what you are stepping into now is not merely protection or preparation. It is positioning. The season ahead will not look like the season behind you. And the reason heaven moved so deliberately before 11:59 p.m. is because your house was being aligned for visibility. There are moments when a family lives quietly under the radar. Growth happens in private. Strength forms in hidden places. Lessons are learned behind closed doors. But there comes a time when private strengthening transitions into public influence. Archangel Michael speaks with unwavering clarity. Your house had been hidden for refinement. Now it will be revealed for impact. This does not necessarily mean fame or spotlight. It means influence. It means that decisions made inside your home will ripple outward. It means that the stability you fought to build will become a model for others. It means your resilience will encourage someone who is on the verge of giving up. The watching that once attempted intimidation has now shifted into something else entirely. Heaven hath been observing your response, and heaven rewards maturity. You may soon notice that people begin seeking your advice, asking how you handled certain challenges, wondering how your household remained intact during pressure. Do not dismiss those moments. They are evidence that your house carries wisdom. The reason unity was so critical before midnight is because influence without unity collapses quickly. But influence built on agreement becomes sustainable. There is also a financial dimension to what is unfolding. Not reckless wealth, not sudden chaos, but structured increase. Equal fourth represented foundation, and foundations support expansion. If new streams of opportunity begin to appear, approach them prayerfully and wisely. Do not rush, but do not shrink back either. Archangel Michael declares, expansion requires courage, but courage must be anchored in peace. Peace remains your anchor. As visibility increases, so does scrutiny. But remember, scrutiny cannot destabilize what is internally aligned. Continue guarding your conversations. Continue protecting your family's privacy. Continue strengthening emotional bonds. This is the hour to intentionally invest time into your household. Shared meals, honest dialogue, encouraging word, small celebrations. Joy fortifies structures better than tension ever could. There is something sacred about a house that has survived spiritual testing. It carries depth. It carries story. It carries testimony. And testimony multiplies impact. Right now, if this message is confirming what you have been sensing, receive this activation boldly. Type "My house carries purpose" in the comments if this resonates in your spirit. Blessing code 8181 is now released over your household. The number 8 symbolizes new beginnings and authority. When double, it amplifies momentum. At night, momentum rests on your foundation. As this truth settles within you, understand that the mission does not stop at your doorstep. There are countless households sensing tension, unaware of how to respond. When light spreads, protection spreads. When awareness multiplies, intimidation loses territory. If your spirit feels stirred to help extend this covering beyond your own walls, act on that stirring now. When you release support through super thanks, membership, or through the PayPal link in the description, you are sowing seed into soil that produces awakened homes. The Lord declares, "Give, and it shall be given back to you, pressed down and overflowing." This is not a transaction. It is alignment with heaven's expansion. As you pour, oil flows back into your house. As you strengthen this mission, strength circles back to your bloodline. Do not delay obedience. Let your giving become a prophetic declaration that says, "My household stands as light." Activate your seed and watch heaven respond. The shift you feel is not temporary. It is structural. Archangel Michael remains positioned not as one reacting to threat, but as one overseeing advancement. Your home has moved from defense to direction, from alertness to alignment, from potential to preparation for manifestation. Stay steady. Stay intentional. Stay grateful. Because what unfolds next will confirm that this was not merely a warning about someone watching your house. It was an announcement that your house was being positioned for influence. Steady vessel of your household, now that positioning has begun, you must understand the responsibility that comes with influence. Protection prepared you. Unity stabilized you. Positioning aligned you. But influence will test you in ways that quiet seasons never could. Archangel Michael speaks with measured strength, Guard humility as fiercely as you guarded your doors. When a house survives spiritual pressure and begins to rise, there is a subtle temptation to relax in overconfidence. You may feel stronger now, more alert, more certain, and that confidence is healthy when anchored correctly. But if confidence shifts into pride, small fractures can quietly reappear. This is why consistency matters more than intensity. The urgency before 11:59 p.m. was intense. It demanded immediate awareness. But what sustains a household long-term is daily discipline. Simple habits. Respectful speech. Listening before reacting. Checking your tone. Choosing patience over ego. Influence magnifies whatever already exists. If peace exists, peace multiplies. If unresolved attention lingers, it too will magnify under pressure. Your house is entering a phase where decisions will carry more weight. Conversations about the future will become more serious. Financial planning may require sharper focus. Opportunities may demand courage. You cannot approach these casually. Archangel Michael declares, wisdom must lead where favor opens doors. There is also a relational shift approaching. Certain connections may fade naturally. Others may strengthen unexpectedly. Not everyone assigned to your past is assigned to your future. As your house stabilizes and elevates, alignment changes. Do not resist necessary distance. Do not chase relationships that feel forced. Trust discernment. The same awareness that alerted you to observation will now guide you through transition. You may even sense that the atmosphere around your property feels lighter, quieter, less dense. That is confirmation that the monitoring phase has fully dissolved. But do not forget the lesson it carried. Awareness must remain active even when pressure decreases. The Watcher episode was a classroom. It trained you to notice subtle shifts. It sharpened your sensitivity to division. It reminded you that unity is non-negotiable. These lessons will protect you in future seasons more than you realize. Here is something else unfolding quietly. Someone in your household is stepping into greater confidence. It may be a child finding their voice, a partner gaining clarity, or even you discovering leadership qualities that were dormant. Encourage that growth. Do not dismiss it. Archangel Michael says, empowerment inside a house strengthens its walls. Celebrate progress. Acknowledge improvement. Speak affirmation openly. These small actions create emotional safety, and emotional safety creates resilience. As the days continue, watch how conversations shift from fear-based to future-focused. That is the clearest sign of transformation. When a house begins planning instead of worrying, growth has already begun. But hear this carefully. Influence will attract new observation. Not hostile this time, but curious. People observe stability. They study consistency. They notice when chaos does not dominate a home. And some will seek to learn from you. Be generous with wisdom, but guarded with vulnerability. Not every listener deserves access to your private battles. Share testimonies, not raw wounds. Protect sacred details. Archangel Michael remains present, not hovering in alarm but standing in assurance. His presence now symbolizes partnership rather than emergency response. That means you have matured into cooperation with protection. And here is the quiet promise unfolding beneath everything. What your house models will echo beyond your address. Other families will draw courage from your stability. Others will learn unity by watching your consistency. You may never fully see the ripple effect, but it will exist. April 4th will become a testimony you carry internally. Not as a story of fear, but as a reminder of awakening. The night your household chose awareness over ignorance. Authority over anxiety. Unity over division. Continue building. Continue refining. Continue aligning. Because what approaches next will require not just protection or positioning, but bold action. And bold action only succeeds when the foundation beneath it is unshakable. Courageous keeper of your home, this is the moment where everything begins to crystallize into action. Protection prepared you. Positioning aligned you. Influence awakened you. Outcomes movement. Not reckless movement. Not emotional reaction. But intentional, bold steps that confirm your household is no longer standing still. Archangel Michael speaks with commanding calm. A fortified house must not remain idle when doors begin to open. In the days ahead, you will feel a nudge to act on something you have delayed. A conversation you have postponed. A decision you have avoided. An opportunity you have hesitated to pursue. That nudge is not pressure. It is alignment calling you forward. When a house has been spiritually sealed and strengthened, stagnation becomes the only real threat. Not attack. Not monitoring. Stagnation. Because unused strength slowly weakens. You have learned vigilance. You have restored unity. You have increased discernment. Now apply it. There may be a financial decision requiring courage. A relocation consideration. A new partnership. A project that once felt too ambitious. Approach it prayerfully, but do not shrink back automatically. Fear disguised as caution is still fear. Archangel Michael declares, faith must move when peace confirms it. Notice that word, peace. If an opportunity carries chaos from the beginning, it is not a line. But if it carries challenge wrapped in calm, that is often growth knocking. Your house is no longer reacting to threat. It is responding to promise. And promise demands participation. Do not allow old insecurities to narrate your future. To watch your phase attempted to make you feel small. To question your stability. To second guess your strength. But that chapter is closed. You are operating from reinforced ground now. This is also the time to involve your household in vision. Speak openly about goals. Invite input. Build together. Unity is not just about avoiding arguments. It is about sharing direction. When everyone understands the destination, cooperation increases. Archangel Michael says, shared vision strengthens shared responsibility. As you step forward, expect subtle resistance, not from external monitoring, but from internal doubt. The mind often replays old fears even when the environment has changed. Challenge those thoughts. Replace them with evidence of how far your house has come. Remember the tension you once felt. Remember the urgency before 11:59 p.m. Remember the shift at midnight. You survived that. You grew from that. You strengthened through that. Now act from that strength. And let this moment become collective. If this message has guided you, if it has sharpened your awareness and fortified your home, engage with it intentionally. Like this message so it reaches other households standing at their own crossroads. Share it with someone who needs courage to move forward. Comment below that your house is stepping boldly into its next season. Subscribe to this channel and stand with a community that refuses stagnation. Join the membership if you feel aligned, because collective growth multiplies wisdom. There is something powerful about families rising together. As movement begins, stay grounded. Do not rush progress out of excitement. Measured steps build lasting results. Quick leaps without foundation collapse under pressure. But you now have foundation. Archangel Michael remains present, not pushing you but pacing with you. His role shifts from defender to strategist. He guards, but he also guides. The bold action ahead may not look dramatic to outsiders. It may be as simple as reorganizing finances, setting boundaries, changing routines, pursuing education, starting something small but consistent. Do not underestimate small beginnings. Strong houses are built brick by brick. And here is the truth you must carry. Hesitation is no longer protection. It is delay. You have been warned, sealed, positioned, and prepared. Now you must move. Because what stands before your household is not another threat. It is opportunity waiting for courage. Stay with this momentum, because what unfolds next will reveal the full circle of why someone was watching your house in the first place, and why that watching has now turned into witness of your rise. Determined soul, now you are standing in the space where everything connects. The watching, the warning, the sealing before 11:59 p.m., the strengthening of unity, the positioning for influence, the call to bold action. None of it was isolated, but with a sequence, and sequences reveal strategy. Archangel Michael speaks with deep assurance. What seemed like surveillance was actually confirmation that your house carries weight. Weight in the spiritual realm is not measured by size or status. It is measured by impact. Your household carries impact that extends beyond your awareness. That is why the monitoring phase existed. Not because you were fragile, but because you were valuable. Now the file layer begins to unfold. The watching that once attempted to study your vulnerabilities has shifted into something unexpected. It has become witness to your resilience. The same unseen realm that observed your house during testing is now observing your consistency in growth. Heaven watches too. Do not forget that. When you chose unity over division, heaven recorded it. When you spoke peace over your doors, heaven marked it. When you forgave quickly, when you resisted fear, when you strengthened communication, those moments were not small. They were documented in the unseen. Archangel Michael declares, consistency attracts elevation. Elevation does not always look dramatic at first. Sometimes it appears as stability that refuses to shake. Sometimes it looks like clarity in decision-making. Sometimes it manifests as unexpected favor in small details. But elevation is unmistakable over time. You may notice that your reactions have changed. Situations that once triggered anxiety now meet calm. Conversations that once escalated now resolve more quickly. That is growth becoming visible. There is also a shift in authority happening inside you. You no longer speak about your home passively. You speak with ownership, with responsibility, with awareness. That internal shift is powerful, because houses reflect their leaders. Archangel Michael stands not only as guardian but as witness to your transformation. His presence now carries affirmation more than urgency. The sword that was once raised in alert now rests in confidence. The question now is not whether your house is protected. It is whether your house will fully embrace its assignment. There is an assignment attached to your stability. Your household is meant to model resilience, to demonstrate that tension can be resolved, that fear can be confronted, that unity can be chosen intentionally. Others are quietly watching, not with harmful intent, but with curiosity. They are observing how you navigate challenges. They are learning from your discipline. They are gaining courage from your calm. This is influence in motion. But influence requires humility. Do not boast in your strength. Do not compare your growth to others. Every household faces its own battles. Remain compassionate. Remain understanding. Archangel Michael says, strength wrapped in humility multiplies safely. The coming days may present one final test, not of danger, but of consistency. A minor disagreement, a small financial pressure, an unexpected inconvenience. These are not threats. They are opportunities to apply what you have learned. Respond calmly. Communicate clearly. Refuse escalation. That will confirm that your growth is permanent, not temporary. And here is the deeper revelation. The entire sequence began because your house was on the verge of stepping into visibility. Visibility requires integrity. Integrity requires alignment. Alignment requires awareness. Awareness required a warning. That is why April 4th mattered. It was not about fear. It was about readiness. As you move forward, do not forget this lesson. Remain spiritually awake even in peaceful seasons. Guard unity even when tension seems distant. Speak life over your home regularly, not only during urgency. Your house is no longer reacting to being watched. It is confidently being witnessed. And the final confirmation of this journey is about to settle over your household in a way that removes every lingering doubt. Stand steady. The circle is always complete. Beloved guardian of your bloodline, this is the completion of what began as a warning and has now become a declaration. The circle closes here. The watching has ended. The witness has begun. And your house stands not as a target, but as a testimony. What started as urgency before 11:59 p.m. was never about panic. It was about awakening. April 4th was not a date of danger. It was a date of decision. A line drawn in the unseen realm where your household chose awareness over ignorance, unity over division, authority over anxiety. Archangel Michael speaks one final time with unwavering certainty. Your house is no longer under observation. It is under assignment. Assignment changes everything. When a home carries assignment, it carries responsibility. It carries influence. It carries light. And light does not hide once it has been strengthened. It shines naturally. Look at what has happened. You sensed something was off. You responded instead of ignoring it. You sealed your home with unity. You strengthened communication. You sharpened discernment. You prepared for movement. You stepped into bold action. That is transformation. The watcher phase exposed where cracks could have formed. But instead of collapsing, you reinforce the structure. That reinforcement is permanent if you maintain it. Protection is not a one-time event. It is a lifestyle of awareness and alignment. From this day forward, let your house operate intentionally. Speak peace regularly. Address tension quickly. Guard privacy wisely. Plan boldly. Love openly. Forgive swiftly. These are not small disciplines. They are spiritual architecture. Archangel Michael remains stationed, not because danger is circling, but because destiny is unfolding. His presence over your household now symbolizes partnership and purpose. There is one final truth you must carry in your spirit. The reason someone was watching your house was because your house was never ordinary. It carries generational shift. It carries restored patterns. It carries breakthrough that will ripple beyond your address. And now that you know this, live like it. You not drink back into small thinking. Do not minimize your growth. Do not treat your stability casually. Protect what you have built. Nurture what is emerging. Celebrate how far you have come. If this entire journey has confirmed something deep inside you, respond boldly. Type "My house is under divine assignment" in the comments if you receive this word. Blessing code 1212 is now activated over your household. 12 represents government and divine order. Doubled, It symbolizes alignment established and sustained. Your house stands aligned, and as this message settles into completion, hear this clearly. The light that covered your home is meant to spread. Here are families still sensing silent tension, still unaware that awareness can shift everything. When you support this mission through super thanks, through membership, or through the PayPal link in the description, you are not giving to a platform. You are sowing into a harvest of protected households. The Lord declares, "Those who build my house, I will establish theirs." This is seed meeting soil under open heavens. When you release, rivers flow back toward you. When you strengthen this voice, protection echoes over your bloodline. Do not treat this as a casual auction. Let your giving become a prophetic act that says, "I stand with heaven's assignment." Activate your support now and watch divine order respond to your obedience. The warning has fulfilled its purpose. The house stands fortified. The assignment has begun. And what once felt like surveillance has become confirmation that your household carries heaven's attention for protection, for purpose, and for impact.